Hey there, RJ Steinert here. I'm going to demo the data collector is redirected to custom route after event form is submitted. Typically, when an event form is submitted, the user is redirected back to the list of event forms for that event. However, if you want them to be forwarded to, for example, back to the list of events for that case, or perhaps to the list of cases, or perhaps in situations where you want to redirect them to the next form in that event, all those situations, this new API in Tangerine 3.12 will be of use for you. And with our most basic example here, I have an example of, in the onSubmit logic for a form, setting the window event form redirect variable to just /. This will send them back to the list of cases. In the demo that I'm going to give, we're going to do a little bit more complicated one, where we create another event form instance and then redirect to that. So we can create a workflow of filling out one form, being redirected to the next one, and then the next one, and so on and so forth. In your in the example in the logic that you build, you could even take it a step further and say, if they filled out a form in a certain way, they're redirected to form B, or they're redirected to form C. So let's get into the demo, and you'll see what I mean. For this demo, I'm going to use the content set, the case module content set, and run the Tangerine preview tool. Let's also open this up in VS Code so we can see the content. And open a Google Chrome browser. Open it up to localhost 3000. And I'm going to create a new case. And for this demo, we've set up a new event to demonstrate this workflow. So we're just going to cruise through this. And back out of the registration event and find this new event called form workflow example. I'm going to go ahead and create that event and open it up. And you'll see we have one form to start out with, but there's actually 3 forms in this event. There is the first, second, and third form. When I start the first form, there's nothing to fill out here, but this just says this is the first form in the series. On submit, you'll be forwarded to the second. Click submit. Now you see I'm in the second form, as opposed to going back to here is where you would usually end up. And so the user would need to know, like, oh, I'm supposed to click second form, right? This is there's some logic, which I'll show you in a second, in the first form submit function that creates this event form instance and then also redirects you to it. The same thing's going to happen now when I submit the second form. It's going to create the third form and redirect me to it. Here I am in the third one now. And we go back and look. Yes, it created this third one for me. And lastly, when I submit, I'm redirected not back to the form workflow example event. I'm redirected back to the case. So all of this is done via this new API. Let's take a look at the content. So let's also do let's do this workflow again. And we're going to start in that first form. So the code for the first form, here it is, form 1. Make this bigger for y'all. So very simple form, just a tangy box with a message in it. But in the onSubmit, we use the case service create event form API, where we pass in the current case event ID, and then the event form definition ID, which is going to be that second form, and then the current participant ID. Now, in the event form redirect, our new API, we're redirecting to the /case/event/form/ the current case ID, the current case event ID slash the second event form ID that we created here. You can see that this URL structure, you can see this when we, for example, if we're in an event form, you can see here it's case event form, and this is the case ID, this is the event ID, and this is event form ID that we're currently in. So that's the URL structure there. You just back up and see when we're in an event, it's slash case slash event slash the ID of the case, ID of the event. And when we're in case slash the ID of the case. Just good to familiarize with what those URLs structure are. All right. So that's why we are going to slash case slash event slash form, and that's why we're forwarded to that second event form. And then going to the second form in the workflow, same on submit, except this time we're creating the third event form, passing in that third event form ID. And again, just for reference, let's look at that case type 1. So in our event definitions, there is this workflow event. Here it is. And there's 3 event form definitions. You can see the IDs here, sort of named after the forms. Workflow form 1, workflow form 2, workflow form 3 down here. And I just named them similarly in the event form definitions. So yeah, this ID that we're passing into that create event form is this ID, not this ID, not the form ID, but the event form ID, this one. Jumping over to that form 2, yep, so that's case type 1. This ID here is this ID here. And so when we go to the case event form and its particular ID, that's how we end up on the third one. All right, so on the third form, it does a little something different from the prior 2. Let's open that up and take a look. It forwards back to the case. So if we look at form 3, we set event form redirect to a simpler URL. We don't have to create a new event form. We know that this is the last one in the series. So we just set slash case slash the case instance current case instance ID. And submit that. And here we are at the case instance page. And if you want to, for example, send them all the way back to the list of cases, as I alluded to in the beginning of the video, you can do that with using just slash. So back out of this, reload, open this up, do another round of the workflow. First form, second form, third form, and we are back to the list of cases. All right, that about wraps it up for this user story. Thanks for watching.